Meet Frank Murphy, who served in the U.S. Army from June 16, 1943 to March 31, 1969. This interview is taking place at the Watervliet Arsenal in Watervliet, New York on May 5, 2005 at 11:45 a.m. This interview is being conducted by Ken and June Hunter. What is your full name and when and where were you born?
Frank B. Murphy, born in Cohoes, New York.
All right. And when were you born?
April 13, 1925.
And what did you do before you entered the service?
Well, I quit high school and went to work in the Albany Packing Company for 1 year. But between 16 and 18, I tried to join the Marines, and I went through everything, okay, and near the end, they found out I was colorblind. I said, colorblind, I didn't know that, so I flunked the physical. So now, later on, well, I couldn't get in right then at 17. You know, I guess I was just 16, turning 17. So then I went down the Army. They said, well, you better wait till you're 18. And they said, well, you're going to be 18 soon, so come down and we'll put it down, what you call, what do they call it, volunteer for the draft. They volunteer for the draft. So my birthday was 18, so this way I was called up right away. In other words, I didn't have to wait till my number come up, because I went and volunteered, they call it, for the draft. And so I was called up in June 16th, and then we took a train from downtown Albany, Camp Upton, New York. I think I was there about 3 days or so. They process you, all this bit. And then they interview everybody, I remember in a big room, and they want volunteers for the infantry. Well, I wanted to volunteer for the paratrooper. So what they said, no, you can't go now directly into the paratrooper, because they found too many that were going in, flunking them out at the paratrooper. So they said, what you do, so that's more likely I volunteered for the infantry. So they said, what you do, you go and take infantry basic, and then from there, after your basic, they see you're all qualifying that, then you go to paratrooper. But I remember in basic, there was 5 guys out of 225 were going to go to paratrooper. Murphy, O'Brien, Figaro, Wiener, and Webster. I remember the 5 names. And then after a month or two, had to go up, take a physical again. You know, so why in infantry basic? So I remember in basic, the other guys were all beat, they're all low and all that. And at night, instead of 10 push-ups, you had to go. I'm trying to do 50 with my friend O'Brien. He was from New York. He was 18, but he was an ex-boxer. Okay, I think it was 128 pounds when I went in the Army, and I think you had to be 138 pounds. I'm going way back, I'm quite sure. Well, would you believe it or not? I put 10 pounds on in basic training. I remember this guy, Murphy Moore. The poor guy was like 34 or 5. He lost 40 pounds. Everybody was losing weight, and here I was gaining weight in basic training. Okay, so I remember the 5 names. I can tell you where the whole 5. Figaro was a boxer out of New York. Webster, Jewish fellow. Wiener was a Jewish fellow of Brooklyn. Webster was from Georgia. He was a boxer. O'Brien was a boxer. Every Friday night in basic training, they box. And this O'Brien was 18, so if some guy's a bully like 185, they would mess with O'Brien and all that. Because O'Brien was going to be a paratrooper, and these guys go to bed, they're all beat, and O'Brien are out, we're trying to do 50. Well, to make it story short, it came easy for me, basic. I'd be one of them guys that said, found a home, right? Well, you see, I put 10 pounds on, easy. And so the last day of basic, you know, they have to celebrate and all that bit. Well, I remember this guy waiting to go to OCS, name was Kirker from Syracuse, waiting to be a commission. And big guy, I'm a little skinny guy, you know. And you know how guys trying to show they can judo, and he's trying to wrestle, he couldn't get, not trying to do anything with him. I haven't got a chance. Well, he broke my thumb. So I had to go right up to the hospital, still got it, that thumb. Went up to the hospital and all that, and they want to know how it happened. So you can't turn the guy in, he's waiting to go see. I said, I come up the stairs, tripped over the Foot Locker, hit the pole. So now, when I come back from the hospital, I don't know if I was there 3, 4, 5, whatever. I go back to the company area. It is completely empty. I mean, they clear it out. Boom, boom, everybody's on. So they got my assignment. I thought it'd go to Benny. The cycle that was going to start at Fort Benny, I missed it. They had orders for me to go up to Fort Dix, New York, to join the 85th Division. That was already training out in California desert, Camp Shelby, Mississippi, the swamps in Louisiana. They were the best trained division, trained for 1 year. And they were shipped to Fort Dix. They never knew if they were going to Pacific and all that. So they shipped to Fort Dix, and then I had to go up there. Fort Dix, I joined it. All these guys are 34, 28. Next year, young one are 22, and there I'm 18 years old. Okay, geez, I better jump around. So in other words, you trained
And where did you go from there?
Yeah, from there, with Camp Patrick Henry, Virginia. And then we're at Fort Dix, they regrouped, they got rid of guys that were not physically fit, all that. Then we Camp Patrick, Virginia, Newport, I think what, and then we went to North Africa the end of December 24th, 43, and got into Casablanca, I think it was, but yeah, and maybe the 2nd of January. But all that time on the ship, I was deadly seasick. I could not eat. I said, boy, I'm glad I did not join the Navy. I think that was that FISGO, 16, 17, and I'm glad I couldn't get in all that bit because I never would have made it. So at when we landed at Casablanca, now I'm so weak, gotta remember, I didn't eat all them 9 days. Our duffel bag, had to walk for miles, wherever we're going in the dark. I remember staggering, you know, from being seasick probably, you know, and where we bivouacked, pup tents, and I don't know how long we were there, not too long. Then they put us on a train, 40 and 8 train. I think it was 40 and 8. Like
what do you mean by 40 and 8?
That means it was for horses or something, when they transport horses. Well, it's called 40 and 8.
8 horses, right?
Maybe it's 4, no, 4 feet be more, 8. And I remember we were on 3 or 4 days on that. It went so slow. And then I remember one time by the door, it went slow, because now and then it stopped, you jump out, you had to go to the bathroom. And I remember looking down, oh, we're on the bridge. I said, oh, I'll sleep, but I got in quick. And so then we got into Casablanca, Oran. St. Denis du Sea, and they had us in a little area of tents, and then they moved us up in the mountains, and we trained January, February, and living in pup tents up in the mountain training. And then we also come down and took amphibious training. Okay, and then from there, we got orders quick, like that, and everything went boom. Pack your bag, moving out. And I remember I got in an argument with my squad leader. I remember his name. Can I say a guy's name? He's dead. Gandolfo Tranuso. I never forgot his name, because when I was at Fort Dix and they needed somebody, you know, in them days, somebody, all he knew, Murphy. Anytime they needed, I figured them guys would pick me. Well, in Africa, I remember another guy, Leo, I had to fight with. And then, quick, he was up on KP. You know, out in the tents. They set the tents, open field. Well, you got to break your tent, pack your bags. And I remember him saying, get up there the way and read so-and-so, so he can do it. Well, by that time, I blew up. I told him where to get off and all that. All right, so I had to see the company commander, nothing happens, quick, you're moving. They put us on an English ship, went into Naples that night, quick, they're bombing the port of Naples. Now, they rush us up to the front lines, quick, Castle 40. You go up there, that's where in the holes, you see, like in the movies, All Quiet on the Western Front, that compare, look at shell holes, oh, you think they made them. Everything was hit. And I remember you had to move at night. And the Gagliano River, you had to cross that in the bridge and had a whole lot of rope. And you got your pack and all your gear, and you work your way up. And I remember up there, and I can see way up, Monte Cassino. Everybody heard of Monte Cassino, where they popped that. So we weren't on the line too long. We had to relieve the 88th Division, I forget, maybe it's 351st Regiment, and that's our baptism of fire. Then we come off the lines, and I don't know how long time goes by, I can't remember that, but I remember we come off the lines and stayed in Pub 10. They said, the company commander wants to see you. Oh, then, company commander, what does he want to see me for? I figure he never see the company commander, and he didn't forget. I figured they'd forget that punishment in Africa, well, maybe a month ago, whatever. And he didn't forget, you know, and so I had to take an empties. You lived in the field, and they had the 55-gallon drums where they clean everything and that, and then they have a big sump pit, 6x6. And then somebody's got to dig that. Well, when you went through with all your not eating it, that's what I had to dig. That 6x6 for my punishment. So he's going to straighten me out. He never forgot. I figured now I'm in combat, they're going to forget the punishment. I said, wow. Now I got to make this. So now that company commander, he was an old soldier, 10 years I think he was, like a private. Made him first sergeant one day, he told me later, and then he went in the Army, but he went up quick. He wasn't in combat 1 month. He made major. Before the war was over, he made colonel. He's still alive. I taught him phone. Well, time goes by. I'm jumping around now. I got to deal with that company commander that gave me that 6x6. He's going to straighten me out. And so, of course, I won't get on. I could never make PFC. That was tough. I couldn't, never. They never passed me over. New guy come in, he make it. So down in Virginia, we had a reunion 6 years ago. He made it, Colonel Minor. He's there. I seen with this General Whittington that just died, 4 or 5. They're sitting there. I seen him. I said, Colonel, I'd like to talk to you. And we talked. Didn't see him 50 years. Easy. Remember me, Murphy? Yeah, Murphy. I was the young guy at the company. I said, by the way, I just want to let you know, I straightened out. I said, I became a professional. I never forget that punishment you gave me. And he laughed like hell. Later he said with Jen, hey Murph, come over, meet my wife, and have a drink with me. He called me last year. He's 92. He couldn't make the reunion in September because he said, I'm going to see you, and I'm going to take you and my friend Rocco out and have lunch. When he heard I'm going to special guest in D.C. Now, where was I? I'm only up. Oh, from then on. Now the war goes on, bingo, and then the big push that we went on the lines in March. Now people don't know. November, December, January, February, March, April. For 6 months they were fighting in Italy. Brutal. And then Monte Cassino, we had troops wiped out there. Not my division, I wasn't there. I think the 36th Division, American Division was there, Rapido River. They had about 3,000 killed, blood run that river. 3rd Division, I think they were there. Now the English 8th Army were there. Everybody was for 6 months, they were fighting there. I was to the left of Monte Cassino. I could see them when they bombed it. And now, you know how many were killed there? They call it Monte Cassino, 60,000 killed between Germans and Allied troops. People don't know that on Monte Cassino. Okay, where was I? So now, May 11, the big push comes, the big push. You couldn't break through that German line. They got pillboxes, unbelievable. You can direct hits on them, the German, so we broke through. My regiment was the first one to break a crack in that lines where they could never break through. You gotta remember, not like a week, a month, 6 months or so, could not break through that front line, all concrete pillbox. And then our regiment broke through from then on, and it took us from May 11 fighting all the way up to Rome, June 5th, when we went into Rome. But on May 11, 12, 13, 14, we had some companies, 25%, 80%, got hit bad. Okay.
Now, from there,
Okay, then we broke through, and you then had a Hitler line. After you broke through the Gothic line, the next line, it wasn't just easy going. The next fortification was the Hitler line. They had all these different lines before you can hit Rome. When we say a line, it's not like a foxhole. They're completely bunkers, solid concrete wall. Because when we broke through once, not that I took the pillbox, I remember going in one, they come in the back, all solid. I said, wow, they had it pretty good, where it's all concrete, and they can live, and they have the slit, we're up in them and look down, but they have a bunk here, bunk here, bunk there, a desk there, so they really can rest up while they're on the front lines, and just look out. We handled the machine gun. I said, that's not too bad. And it was all concrete, where they come in the back, go into it, and all that. So if them around, and then on top of it, they probably had grass growing. They took a long time doing it. Then the next line, when they broke down, it was the Hitler line. It wasn't that easy. But then going to all these different villages where they had, they were hit bad, then you got sniper fire. Well, by the time we get, May 11, the big push, and to June the 5th, but we took Rome. But once you got Rome, the German part wasn't bad. Going through Rome, and I think I walked 25 miles or something like that through Rome, because you got to lug all this gear, keep going, 10 at night, pull up, big whack area, sleep, and then we got rest. Then I lose track, but I remember we got a break, and we come off the lines, and then they got new uniform, went down the beach, they cleared the beach, I guess, all the mines, and then you were able to go swimming. It was a pretty good one. Then you go into Rome, it was pretty good, they didn't destroy you. Then you got all them good-looking girls running around down there. So when you got off the lines, it wasn't bad. They can have something to drink, not that I drink, and the food and all. So we got a rest, they regroup, probably replacement. Then I lose track. Then we go up on the, I think, where's that? Okay, Hitler line, Rome, this jumps around. Then we're on the pole, where's the pole? Okay, then we're up on Arno River, that's kind of north of Florence. And
I'll
Florence.
tell your story about the farmhouse.
Not yet, that didn't come yet. Oh, no, no. You make me skip a lot of months. So now, after that, well, first of all, I was kind of one of them happy-go-lucky guys, off the line. There may be always 6 or 8 when you come off the lines. There's always quiet guys that seem to worry. But I remember Plaid, Kane, and then we'd play cards and shoot crap till 11 at night, all that. Even you're getting ready to go on the line, the other guys are trying to sleep. You always slept down on the ground. No such thing as a bed. And all I remember, we having different, guys like to play cards, shoot crap and that. But where was I? So now Rome, up around Florence, it wasn't bad that summer. Don't seem to be bad. And it wasn't, the weather's good. That means a lot. So in other words, you can sleep in a tent. You're not going to freeze because you only have 2 blankets and shelter here. But on the way to Rome, you get guys walking, newly placed. They drop their bag, they throw their shelter off and blanket. Me, I was always thinking I got an extra blanket, I had 3 blankets. I had an extra shelter here where I can roll my roll, carry that. I always lugged a lot of stuff, even though I was kind of light and that. So now the next, okay, Okay, summer goes by, don't seem to be bad on the Pole River, no, Arnold River, Pole's North, Arnold River. So now, the September, the next big battle, like the Gothic line breaking through where Germans built fortification, all that, that would be the Gustav line. So it wasn't bad September weather, but as it was going and going, kept going, and we thought we could get there in no time to go to Bologna. They'd say another mountain, and by the time we're going, September broke through, maybe in the middle of September, October, then the weather's getting bad, then that November, October, maybe October, the rains came, mud, then you get damp, cold at night, and all that. Then that wear and tear you're digging, and then the cold weather set in. Maybe it's getting November, and then the rain came, foxholes in the mountain. Some caved in on top of the guys, and then guys would, being you're wet, your feet are wet, guys would get trench foot. Then the trench foot know what it is, and because your feet are wet, night the cold is still wet, and we didn't have combat boots. An early part, we jumped around. We went into combat with leggings. I don't know if you ever see them. The leggings, well, we're bad at that. When you're in a pup tent and you're cold and you got to take stuff off, you put them leggings, got mud, you miss the lace and all that, you never put them on. So after that, I think they came out with these new combat boots, you know, maybe by that, after Rome or something, and then the boots, boy, that's good. Didn't have to worry about cleaning up leggings and this strap, two straps, so that wasn't bad. But, yeah, you had dabbing, you're supposed to waterproof them, don't mean a thing. And then your shoes, they get kind of rotten, all that. The 2nd September, October, that's 44, you know, way after Rome, north of Florence. And let's see now. Now, that's where guys start, the tear comes, guys laying in a hole and it's shelling and you're raining and mudding with that. Then some guys crack up, they can't take it no more and all that. So, but me jump around. So maybe September, when that battle kind of broke through at the Gothic line, the weather was pretty good. I remember we're going all day up a hill. When we get up there and it's getting close to night, it had to be in September because it was still kind of light, maybe at 8 o'clock. I'm trying to remember all this stuff, 8 o'clock. And I remember this, whatever outfit was there before us, they said they got hit hard and they had a lot of wounded, maybe 8 or 10, and they needed volunteers. I don't even know if it was attached to our battalion or another division or what, and they needed some of our men to volunteer to take the wounded down. It's not like going here, over there, you're going down a hill. So I volunteer and go. I figured the guy would pick me anyhow, so I figure, you know, he can't pick me, and I left my gear there, and I remember we had stretchers, and I remember the one guy, oh, you got me thinking. Yeah, you remember say getting the story? This guy, the guy I'm going to carry, he said to me, look at this. He was able to stand. He opened up, oh, I'm glad you got me thinking. Now when I'm going, I tell you, he opened up. He was from Chicago, Italian guy. I'm going to help him out now. He said, let me show you something. He goes in his pocket. He pulls out a prayer book. Okay. In them days, you know, your prayer book, Rosie Beach, and that. I carry Rosie Beach. I still got my 3 prayer books, Second World War, Vietnam. I still got them. I don't know how I got 3 of them. I look at I don't remember, I don't know, the Korea War or Vietnam. I remember the second. So now, this guy said, look at this. He pulls out his prayer book, and I don't know if you ever heard of it. He's got a metal cover. You ever hear of it? A prayer book in the Second War. It's a metal cover, and it fits in his pocket. Look at this. And he's got I don't know, probably shrapnel. I don't think it was a bullet. Usually got hit heavy artillery. And he's got the prayer book right through where it kind of, not bad, you know. So I carry him down the hill, sliding down the hill, and I said, I know, and we're screaming, this guy's here, they got a wounded guy there. Nobody's in charge, everything's in line, you're confused. Nothing goes like You think it's gonna go by. And nobody's in charge going out screaming, no, you go this way, this guy this way. It's getting dark. We're going down, you're sliding, trying to hold the guy up. So like I said, I don't know, it's 3-4 hours later, by the time we know where we're going. And found this old farmhouse, maybe the Germans had it that day. That day, I would say. And guy, no, and a couple guys to make it that died on the way. Some get hit bad. So I remember this, where do we drop them? And here and that, I'll drop them there. It was dark, you can't see. No lights, You get candles, you always care. So let's see, where am I at now? I don't want to forget.
So you're in the house.
So now I'm going, so where do I drop? Where do I put the guy? Put him there, find a place to sleep. I'm just exhausted. It's not like you don't eat, nothing. There's time, forget it. You just keep going. No such thing. 8 hours, take a break, eat. And I go, well, it's too crowded downstairs. Can't see, first of all. I mean, go in the other room, you got to feel your way. Guy said, upstairs, don't know who they are. In fact, nobody from my company, I don't remember. I go upstairs, I remember there's a room there, you have a flashlight, that room's empty. I look in the other room, there's like a bed, no mattress spring. I go, oh brother, I just took my pack, I think I put a table there, and I flopped out. I said, I didn't even move, nobody's gonna get it before me. I'm not even going to hesitate to do anything else. I'm going to get in that bed, not in bed, on the spring, and I just out like a light. Okay, so this farmhouse, I figure, had to be, the Germans had it the day, or whenever, when they held it, and that night, it may have been 1, 2 in the morning, they shelled the living hell out of it, and a drink, and so the guy come on, hey, get up, boy, we got hit last night. I said, what do you mean? I said, I didn't Italy, then forget, I kind of lost track with the one. Oh yeah, I remember now in maybe January, we're taking Mount Grandy, Tent Mountain came in, you hear them. Yeah. They had good publicity, even though they probably in common 6 or 8 months, they got better publicity than we did, and because they're out of here, Fort Trump. And after that, let's see, where was I jumping around? Oh, what did I say? Mount Grandy, and Tent Mountain, I see later, we're there. And my buddy Janseen, we're waiting for a counterattack. And then I forget what happened there. What happened, blank there. But near the end of the war, it wasn't bad when we broke through the Po Valley. I remember going, I can't think of it right now. But then we broke through the Po Valley, crossed the Po River, pictures grown Po. And the Brenner, we're the first one to hit the Brenner Pass. The Brenner Pass, that, up in Austria. We were the first to break through there too. And then by that time, I think we captured thousands and thousands of Germans, but they were all giving up. They weren't fighting no more. I remember coming up in the mountains close to Austria, looking down and seeing lines and lines, thousands walking north. I go, look at that. But they were surrendering, so it was kind of all over. And I remember I told you I never made PFC. I couldn't make PFC. And then that sergeant, he left, he got sick or had to go back. I had another sergeant, then he got one. Well, by the time the war was over, I never made PFC, right? I never made corporal. I never buck sergeant. I went from private to staff sergeant. How do you like that? I couldn't make PFC. I remember griping in the Army around then. You can gripe. Yeah. Our country, when you're around the infantry, you don't carry around and say, well, I say it loud enough. Well, I came in a private and I'll go home a private, dropping him to my squad leader because I had a big mouth. That's all. He never going to promote me. By then I could care less.
So then, when did you...
Oh, the war ended. Yeah. Oh, that was super.
What did you... How was you...
I was a staff sergeant. That my outfit was rotating home, the 85th. They transferred me to the 34th Division, the Red Bull Division. That's a famous division. Had more combat time than any other division. Why, did you hear that, Ken? You knew that? How do you like that? Red Bull, they fought in Africa, wiped out at Kasserine Pass and all that. So then, let's see. I went to the 168 Regiment. Then they transferred me again. They're going to rotate. Then you're going around in circles. Pack your bag. You're moving out today. Get in a truck. Go. Then they moved me to the 88th Division, 351st Regiment. Well, by that time, new replacement. I'm the oldest guy there. And the company commander, he's Cronin, and he was a lieutenant in another platoon. And wow, I'm the oldest. I think I'm the oldest there, but they had a point system. You got 2 points for this, 5 points for a Purple Heart. Remember saying, Kane, you got 5.3 Purple Hearts. How do you like? He's laughing. And you're married, you got 5 points, you got to get 5 points. You got 2 points overseas, 1 point in the States, 5 points for each battle star, 5 points each medal, point system, whatever. But now the war's over, and they're shipping guys that didn't have many points to the Pacific, right? Going to state. Well, I had enough points where I could stay in Italy. Now when Japan surrender, then troops didn't have to go to the Far East. And they were in the States, so they got discharged early. So being I was there, then they said, you had to be there so long. Everybody was new. But I remember a guy in basic training, his name was Hogan. Not Hogan. Hogan, something like H-G-A-N, Morgan or something then, something like that. And he went AWOL basic training because his wife had a baby, they wouldn't give him leave, so he went AWOL. Well, when the war was over, he came to our outfit near the end, and he was a corporal. So here he was a corporal, right? I'm a private. They made me staff sergeant. They made him a buck sergeant. He couldn't figure. I said, don't blame me. I didn't even want it. I wasn't even looking for rank. Them days didn't look for rank. But now once I had staff sergeant, while the war's over, they want somebody, need somebody to go to a pass. They were trying to give them out to go to Switzerland. You want to go, Murph? Well, yeah. I go to Switzerland 7 days. Now I'm back. Something comes up, maybe a month. Oh, we got so many can go to Rome, way up north, Trieste. On a 7-day pit. You want to go? You had to have 80. Yeah, I'll go. I went to Rome 7 days. And I met guys in my outfit stationed around Rome. So now, you think that was it, huh? Then I'm there, and then they say, you want to, oh, maybe 2 weeks or a month, whatever. You want to go to Venice. I went to Venice. It had to be in the summer. Lido Beach, had to be August. And I remember in Venice, Lido Beach, Gene Falkenberg, a movie star there. I'm sitting outside like this, and I'm, you know, having a good time, going to Lido Beach and take a gondola or whatever, and there on the beach. Man, I'm living up. But I'm sitting out like a cafe, and I didn't drink ice cream. Here comes this guy down the street. He was from Albany. His name Farley. He went on the train with me at the same time, and he was like 34, 35. Well, he's trotting down, but he wasn't infantry. He was on pass in Venice. He was signal with some easy job. And he's trotting down the street. I think he's got 1 stripe. Now he's like a college graduate, too, PFC. He sees me sitting there with 4 stripes. He couldn't believe it. And so his name was Farley. And after the war, I'd seen him in Albany because he was from, where was I now? So now the war's over.
Okay, then.
I come home,
Did
maybe
you go
October.
by ship or plane?
Oh, ship, an aircraft carrier. Remember I told you?
Yeah,
I
you
got
so
seasick.
seasick,
I
yeah.
dreaded. I said, oh, I gotta go on a ship. During the war, I even used to think, gosh, I can't stand it. I gotta go back. Not that I'm saying I was gonna get killed. All I could think, I got to go on a ship. That will kill me. But now, being a first grader, I went on an aircraft carrier. Them days, first 3 graders, because it was only staff sergeant and a tech sergeant, and then you didn't see many master sergeant and first sergeant. So I had quarters where the pilots slept on an aircraft car, a bed, a mattress, and everything, and a big table. I couldn't believe it, no duties. I said, boy, am I glad I didn't make staff sergeant. I'm not down that hole sick, dying, you know, and all that. Okay, but come back to Port, Patrick Henry, Newport, Virginia, and then from there, I shipped up to be discharged at Fort Dix. And that had to be in November, December, I come home of 45. So in them days, you want discharged right away, and you can get your teeth in the air, or do you want to wait and get your teeth fixed? Well, I said, I was getting $96 a month, staff side. I said, no duties, nobody's going to mess with me. I embarrassed, and they, a couple of weeks, get your teeth fixed, come back a week, two, whatever that. And then I got discharged January 18. I was in no hurry to get out. I didn't know what I was going to do. I get out. I said, why rush? So I'm glad I stuck around in January 18. All right, so I lived in New York for 46 to maybe September. I was going to be a policeman. I went to Delahanty's be police school. And then, we jump around. My aunt lived up on the west side. And I remember this friend of mine, basic training, Pat O'Brien. He was going to go to the airport, right? So I remember I had a cousin on First Avenue and 16th Street. And I remember I said to her, this friend of mine, East Coast, but O'Brien's a common name. I said he did have a girlfriend he was always talking about, Kitty O'Connell. He said, I went to school with her. You're kidding. So from there, I'm tracking around. Then the guy said, there's a Pat O'Brien. He works up here. I went up there, the wrong Pat O'Brien. So then my cousin said, knew somebody, yeah, this Pat O'Brien, he hangs out in McGovern's on 3rd Avenue and 3rd Avenue and 38th Street. So I go in the place, is there a Pat O'Brien hangs around, comes in here. I was in a basic with him, and Second War. And Miss McGovern's a real brogue, and boy, it was a rough looking place. And he wasn't there. Yeah, he comes in certain night, and then the other fellow, meet his friend, they were all good fighters, the Lyons brothers, Bumpster, they were all boxers in them days where Graziano lived on the Lower East Side, and they all boxed. They must have boxing clubs. And so they knew him. So I'd go in there, then he'd come in and all that bit. But he went, I think it was with the 11th Airport in the Pacific. So he was all right. But the thing is, he couldn't handle his drink. You know, I mean, he won that couldn't handle. So in other words, if there was 3, 4 big guys, 200 pounds, it wouldn't faze him a bit. I'd say, so I couldn't go in there and say, have a drink. Can't have another one. We go, when they drank liquor, they go, oh, come on, Frank. I'd say, well, I got friendly with all friends. They all became cops. The Lyons brothers and all that. They all be. So I was going to Delahanty. Then, being alone up in the woods, I said I'd come back to Albany in September. So I got out in January, stayed in New York, and all that. Because my relative, and came back to Albany. And yeah. So now, what was I doing?
You'll be
so I
going
went
to
back.
Korean War.
I knew. Yeah, I didn't go to the Korean War yet. So now I'm in Albany, and the guy said, "Where are you going to work?" Yeah, I jump around. I got to go as it comes here. They don't have notes. I don't make notes. So I knew my old boss, Pete Anderson, Albany Packing Company. I knew his daughter good, friendly with her, going roller skating. And I got along with everybody at the packing house, even though the skinny guy and all that. And they said, Frank, this is after a long time I'm out. Pete will give you a job back there. And I said, okay. I went to work back in the packing house. Guess how long I last? 2 weeks. So what happened, he gives me the toughest job in the killing department, the toughest job in the place where the freezer, all the bulwark. Well, I don't know if anything hogs and really, and could be a butcher. He's got me in where they kill a hog, they dump it in rosin, it comes up on a roller, and then I had to pull this black. All I could think of, I'm pulling and I'm wetting it all, and I kept thinking, what in the world am I doing with this job? I said, I'd rather be in an army in combat. This is killing me. I said, Pete, I'm going 2 weeks. That's it. Thanks. No way. That job would have killed me. I'm not a bull. And all I could think of, I'm really beat. You work machines and you gotta keep going with them things are moving. So I quit that, you know, so, well, I hung around this place on State Street, the ambassador and politician. I played the horses, then the guy, when you going to work? I said, I can't find a job. Well, fella, I got a job, so I got a job, but then later, I'm jumping around quick. Then a friend of mine, he said, I'll get you a job with in Forestville with the government. So I worked there 3 years, and then after I got bored, and the Korea War started, and I said, gosh, yeah, I got along good in the Army. I got to try to get back in the Army. I kept thinking, and so I go down and say, oh, you're out too long, blah, blah, blah. They give you a run around. Oh, you can get promoted quick. And by that. So I went to California. My cousin was a movie star. Lucille Bremer, did you ever hear of her?
I did.
How do you come you know everything? Brother, how, you're not as old as me. You heard her? I think I got a picture here. I'll show you. Well, she was a big movie star, 43 to 48. And then she got married to the ex-president's son of Mexico, Luis Alberto Rodriguez, and his father was general of the army in Mexico. So when she was making Yolanda in a deep Mexico City, she met him and wound up getting married and gave up the movies. Well, I went out in 51, January. I left Westwood Village. So another friend of mine here, her name was Riley, and I had a brother there, and he became paraplegic, and I go up Beverly Hills where all the fancy home, play cards, you want to play, and I take them down Long Beach, where the medical Navy hospital was, and all that. So, where was I going? Oh, then she had, okay, Riley's, her brother was married to this girl. This girl, sister was a lieutenant at Presidio, California. So what they said, what you do, Frank, you want your rank back, join the reserves. They'll give you your rank. Now, request active duty, and they'll call you in with the rank you held. So I did that. So now I had to go and take a physical, you know. So I kept waiting, they're gonna call me. And I went down, they said, well, you flunked the physical. I said, what do you mean I flunked the physical? You got a hernia. I went, Saltel VA hospital up around where I live. I said, I went, they tell me I got a hernia. They look, no you don't. I went down, I don't have a hernia. So it took this long process, right? And so what she did, my record was up Presidio, and I request active duty, and then they called me in, and I went in with my rank and staff sergeant, Camp Robert, Fort Ord, processed me, you know, took a bus down, and it was hot, Camp Roberts, and then I'm there, basic training, good duty, and then from there, in 52, I went to Korea, went to the 7th Division, you know, can you take a minute, I gotta run to the bathroom. Where are you going?
Now that we're back, you were telling that you got duty in the reserves and then requested active duty, and then you were going to go to
Camp
Korea.
Roberts basic training. Okay, well, I'm at Camp Roberts for about a year where we gave basic training, infantry basic training. Then I got orders to go to Korea. I went to Japan. There they issue a rifle, the M1, other equipment. Then we took a boat from from Japan. I forget how long I was in Japan, maybe a week or maybe days, you know, I forget. And then we went to Korea, I forget if that was only 2 or 3 days or what. Now I went to assigned the 7th Division, and then after that, overnight, they assigned me to the 32nd Infantry Regiment. When I got there, I had Colonel Goldberg, and I remember him saying, battalion commander, oh, was he happy to see me, being I fought in the Second War. And I'm saying to myself, I got news for him. He must think I'm Audie Murphy, and I'm going to win the war, because they were hurting for Platoon Sergeant, and they didn't have many veterans that fought in the Second War, especially in the mountains in Italy. So as soon as I got there, they went into an intense training because it was all new replacement, because they just got through with some big battles in Korea. So the company commander, just about everybody was kind of new, so we had to take heavy mountain training, and then quick after that, I don't know, 6 weeks or 8 weeks of training. Then we went up to, assigned to Old Baldy. And I remember there that night riding the train all night. And then the next morning we had to pack our bag and march. Ooh, I don't know if it was a couple of miles, but it was a long way, and you had to bring, because they said, bring your duffel bag. Everything you're gonna need, make sure you bring it in this bag, because once you're up there on the front lines, you're gonna stay there. Didn't tell you how long. So I remember we got to the foot of Old Baldy, and they had a big rope up there to climb it, and I had to load the rifle, the duffel bag, my pack, and boy, that was something. You had to use the rope, keep that rifle, the steel pot from coming off your head, and you had to use the rope to get up there. Once we got up there, then I forget who we relieved. I don't know if the Marines or the 2nd Division, and then the winter was coming. Maybe it was November, December of '52 on Old Baldy. So we were there all winter long, and there was freezing cold. So you're cold all the time. And then in the bunkers, you got like rats running around at night. I remember 5 years ago, I read an article in the Times Union, and this fellow wrote his experience in the Korea War, how the bitter cold and everything. I said, wow, yeah, that guy's right. Everything he wrote about Korea, I said, yeah, he was there, front line. And I look up the name, and I go, DiBiase. I said, gosh, I had a guy in my outfit named DiBiase. I look over, Reverend DiBiase. I said, how do you like that? I bet that was the guy in my outfit, DiBiase. He came to my outfit as a trained ranger, seeing they didn't have a ranger battalion or anything, so they still had a ranger school in the States, so when a ranger came, maybe one here in a platoon or that, probably spread them out. So I remember DiBiase, and I remember he was always hunched over, freezing. I'm always chewing him out and all that bit. And before we went on the lines, it was always cold. He was in the sleeping bag, and a lot of guys were getting Dear John letters, and all that bit. He's giving the guys all the heat about the Dear John. Well, I'm going to jump around. Well, I'm going to the article. So when I read that article, it had to be Memorial, Labor Day, or something. So here he's a priest. So I called Siena College. I couldn't get him in. So the next day or day after holiday, I call out on Wolf Road, where the Franciscans priests are. I'd take a shot. So I called up, I got the girl. I said, this is a long shot. I read that article in the paper, and I had a fellow in my name in my outfit by DiBiase. And he said, when the war's over, he was going to be a priest. See, he's not from Albany. And he got a sign here. He was in the Philippines, Japan for 30 years. And she said, it could be him. See, what's your name? Gave my name, phone number. Well, half an hour, the phone rang. Sergeant Murphy! And we got on the phone. It was him. He was in my outfit. He wound up getting wounded and all that. And we were telling stories. So we met, went to eat. Then now and then, he had me out, Siena. We have lunch. And then we get together, then I go to have lunch.
So when did you leave Korea?
So that went. So Korea, I left Korea. Near the end, they put me in charge of troops were coming from the States. They were in bad physical shape, not trained. For about a week, we had to kind of, near the end of the war, train them to get them in shape. The mountains, climbing, all that, and stuff like that. And before we went on the line, I was the first sergeant. And then I rotated back maybe in July on a ship and got out in '52. I got out in '53. I was only in 2 years being a went reserve, 51, 50, August 5th. Got out, stayed out 88 days. I couldn't make up my mind, I'm all messed up. And Korea took a lot out of me with that freezing cold. The bitter cold, bitter cold in Korea. It was unbearable, I'll tell you. Freaks, I think of it, to get cold. So I got out, I said, boy, I'm out. So now I'm at Saratoga every day. I'll go to California with a friend of mine. I drove out there, and then a friend of mine had a job, used aircraft, like, geez, I get the same out in the Army. And then I said, well, I couldn't get stationed at MacArthur. I would have to go way up to Fort Ord in the infantry. That's too far. And then I changed my mind, took a plane back, went down to Washington, Virginia, and I was going to re-up my buddy Cunningham, that was a newspaper man. He was in the Navy there at Annapolis, so I'd stay with him. Went over to Fort McNair, got to do it what I'm thinking, and was going to re-up for the Honor Guard. They interviewed me for the Honor Guard, and then he said, just go out, go to the right, and re-up there. So I would have been in the Honor Guard. And I did it. Instead of going, take a right, I thought of it too far from Albany. I went out, got on the bus, I think the next day to probably Cunningham, and then I took a bus to New York and re-enlisted at 90 Church Street in New York. You ever hear that? I think re-enlistment, God, he's up and
Well,
everything.
we've done all these interviews.
Yeah, so what I did there, I'm trying to get around New York. So then they sent me over to Fort Dix to process, you know, to give me assignment. Now I'm at Fort Dix and a rifle company, replacement, with all NCO. Now they're cleaning out Germany with these old, what they call homesteaders. You ever hear that word? Mm-hmm. You did.
Setting up.
They lived in Germany 10 years. They owned hotels, they had German wives, so the Army cleaned them up, and they were all sending them back. They must have been there from 43 to 53. This is 53. And they're in a replacement company, some of them griping, boy, I had such a good deal in Germany. I guess they own a hotel, they own a restaurant, had a German wife. So now, I knew this friend that I had an apartment with in Westwood Village, Murray. He was getting a master's degree at UCLA up the street. And his brother was a lieutenant. And the line kind of go down. He said, I'll take you in. He said, boy, you're up at 5 in the morning. You don't like that and that? Okay. He kind of talked me out of it. So I went back to the company, and they have guys here to interview. And remember, my records aren't there. My records are in D.C., just like my Second War records were in D.C. or whatever, and the Korea War, my records there. It's not like today, they look at it, they got my history in front of them. Now it's like scratch.
So then we know.
88 days, I got in, you had 90 days to get your rank.
Okay.
Remember? And I just made 88 days, I better hurry up. So now, here are these guys interviewing them. I got my record, I'm there, I'm E6 now, you know. Being the platoon sergeant.
Now, how did you get going?
So Korea War, I should have been made master sergeant, but they froze it because what they did when officers got relieved, they made a master, and then when the guys left Korea, they were making master sergeant like I don't want. So it was frozen, the whole country, master sergeant. You couldn't make it. They were overstrength on that rank. So now where was I? Back in
Well, now how you get to
Rio.
Vietnam?
Oh wait, I'm going to jump quick. All right, so now I get, okay, I got assigned to, when the Hawk missile field started, missile field, I was one of the first to get Ajax missile, then I went into Hawk missile, okay. Then I had good duty for 2 years with the Hawk and head of the demonstration team on the East Coast for 2 years. Then I went to Korea, 6.5, Korea, 65, 66, 67. I volunteered to Vietnam. I couldn't get it. Volunteered to Korea. Had a higher priority. From Korea, I went directly in 67 to Vietnam. I was in Vietnam, 67, 68. Went on R&R, Australia. Met not my wife. And then I went twice. When I retired, I was in Vietnam about a year, 67, 68, doing 10. How are we getting down there? And how much time have I got? So now I was able, after got out of the Army, come back, I down in Homestead, Florida, my last 6 months, I was in charge of meeting dignitaries in South America, put them up in hotels, meet them at a special airport, then put them up hotel, bing, 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 and then, where was I now? I'm almost out of the Army, huh? Oh, I'm back from Vietnam. I go 6 months homestead. I get out. I hitchhike to Australia, quick to see my my girlfriend, and then 4 months come back, and then I put in to retire in Australia, and then I went on a cruise. The SS Monterey, I told him I didn't want to fly. I went first class, 22-day cruise through the South Sea Island. Finally went into Sydney, and my future wife met me there. Bingo, finally I got married out in the outback in 1970, let's see, in May 23rd, 1970. I'm confused, I don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm living there. I said, let me go back state, get a job. I said, I got a job. My wife came on later, bing, bing, bing. Okay, then I worked operating engineers, then went bad there. I got married, I had a bed. My wife said, you better get a steady job. I wound up getting a job, what's that, 5 minutes? Yeah. Then I wound up getting a steady job with the Watervliet Arsenal. I was here 16 and a half years, counted my time out in Boysville, counted my time in Port of Newark in Jersey, which I didn't know was a government job. And I wound up 20 years at the Arsenal, counting other time, retired in 92. Where am I? And now I'm involved with politics in Dalmar, Democratic Committee man, and now I'm involved with the military retired people. And what more do you want from me now?
By chance, did you pick up any kind of unusual souvenirs or exchange things with?
I still got a German bayonet that I got in the German War. I sent rifles home. Buddy Losser gave weapons away from the Second War. I still got my commando knife that this guy in my outfit in Korea War gave to me, and it's a wicked looking thing, brass knuckle. I carried that all through Korea because it'd be good in the trenches. And then when I went to Vietnam, I carried that with me all in the Korea War. So one day I think I'll donate it to the museum up there in Saratoga. But I'm still active. I'm 80. My wife just took me to to Ireland for my 80th birthday, and I just got back, finally made it to Ireland, and so I'm still hanging in here.
Okay, well.
Now, you need any more?
Was there any one person that stood out to you?
I met so many different people in the Army, it's hard for me to say.
Oh, you mentioned Herbert Janseen.
I'm still in touch with the fellows in my outfit from World War II, and we had a reunion every 2 years, and I get them all going, we jump around, and they're all old, and I'm still running around. I was a special guest for the World War II Memorial, and everything was taken care of. They flew me to Washington, they put me up in the Marriott. I was with 15 guys or so that met the Medal of Honor. I had a ball there. I'm out on the floor dancing. I was 79. We had a great time, and I'm still in touch with friends from World War II, not from Korea, only that one priest now, he got transferred, and friends of mine from Vietnam, Ryan, Ponce. I talked to Command Sergeant Ryan, he's the last survivor in his outfit in Normandy. He was with me in Korea, Vietnam. Ryan is 16, 18. He was a merchant marine, made 3 trips there. He's a gun-ho guy, Command Sergeant Major, but he's good writing the pencil. I'm not good, I talk to him on the phone. Can I make it?
We sure enjoyed this.
You think it'd be all right?
Oh, it'll be wonderful. And
well, you interview a lot, so what do you think?
Thank you very much.
Oh, you should have cut me off. Yeah.